lads explain those bad lads. That's a hell of a name.
Mr. Vice President, I'm going off script again, I know, but I just want to personally thank you. We've been through some stuff. We've gone through some of the most complex military operations this country's ever conducted, and your steady hand and your leadership during those was a great source of strength for me. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your character. Thank you for your selfless service. Thank you for commitment. Thank you for being a mentor to me, Mr. Vice President.
It's called the swamp. And you know what happened? And you know what I did? A big favor. I caught the swamp. I caught them all. Let's see what happens. Nobody else could have done that but me. I caught all of this corruption that was going on, and nobody else could have done it. Did I get that one right? Every 4 years, we gather on these steps to carry out the orderly and peaceful transfer of power. Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government, while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
This is a president of the United States who is a danger to the Republic.
America first.
He knows he's an illegitimate president.
The oath of office I take today is an oath of allegiance to all Americans.
The great Trump recovery.
America will never be a socialist country. I will fight for you with every breath in my body.
Russia, Russian, pro-Russian, Russian, Russia, Russian, 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 the Russians. Russia,
Russia.
And I will never, ever let you down.
A dangerous virus is spreading rapidly in China, and U.S. officials are very worried that it could come here.
This is really the worst attack we've ever had. This is worse than Pearl Harbor. This is worse than the World Trade Center. There's never been an attack like this.
The time for empty talk is over. Now arrives the hour of action. What they're doing is using COVID to steal an election. Together, we will make America strong again. You know what it's about? Fraud, fake ballots. We will make America wealthy again. They are trying to steal the election.
Now, under the leadership of President Trump, we are fully realizing President Kennedy's prescient view of Special Operations Forces.
We will make America proud again. And watch, please, those mail-in ballots. We will make America safe again. And in millions and millions of ballots, their vote is under what they thought they needed. They're dumping more ballots in there, okay? And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. If we are right about the fraud, Joe Biden can't be president.
Congress, the chair declares the joint session dissolved.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of the Devolution Power Hour. Chris, how are you doing tonight, sir?
The horrors persist, but I am also persisting.
It's lots persisting. Like to hear that. As usual, I had a crazy day today. We're going to be kind of winging this, and it's mostly my fault.
I don't think we are.
But we do have a bunch of topics. We just didn't like. I'll be honest. I didn't put in the full force and weight of like my prep that I normally would. But plenty of topics to discuss. But my kids had so much shit going on today. I wound up coaching not only basketball, but I got roped into coaching my daughter's soccer, and I fucking hate soccer. And so, but yeah, it was a fun day doing that stuff.
Wait, so how old are the kids playing soccer? Because that's really the question.
You can't even call it soccer, dude. They're 5-year-old girls. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So it's a ball, and there's 4-on-4. So there's 8 girls all within a foot of the ball, and they're just like moving it down the field an inch at a time, one way or another, until one girl like breaks away for a goal. And most
do
of the
they
time,
have goalies?
No. They don't need goalies because like they can't shoot it accurately. There's like 100 corner kicks because they get right in front of the goal and go to kick it, and it just like goes sideways every time. But whatever, it was fun. It was cute. But yeah. So that was my day. Anyway, we'll get a couple ads in. We'll talk judicial corruption. We'll talk Katie Hobbs and her administration's corruption. Talk some DOD things, some geopolitics. Trump took a confession from Zelensky today. That was funny. And now he hates Putin, apparently. Just weird day. But let's start it off.
What's going on, though?
Yeah, there is. We're going to start off with lean. See if that gets up on the screen. There we go. Are you a yo-yo dieter? You diet, lose weight, but gain it all back, plus a few extra pounds, then later you lose it and regain it again and again. It's dangerous, and studies show that it can increase your risk of a heart attack, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and other health problems. Breaking free of your yo-yo diet pattern is the main reason doctors created Lean. Lean is a supplement, not an injection, and you don't need a prescription. The science behind Lean is impressive. Its studied natural ingredients target weight loss in 3 powerful ways. Lean helps maintain healthy blood sugar, helps control appetite and cravings, and helps burn fat by converting fat into energy. So listen, if you're tired of losing weight and getting it all back, if you want to lose meaningful weight at a healthy pace, Lean was created just for you, and we can get you started with 20% off when you enter John20 at takelean.com. That's John20 at takelean.com. All right, we'll get to our other sponsors a little bit later. Let's start with the Trump Shadur Sanders thing, because I know you had something you want to say about that.
Well, I just think it's the most interesting example that I've seen in a while of like false reality construction completely failing. The media let's do the post first, and then we'll use that to provide some framing.
Okay, well, maybe we should do a little context first, even about Shadur Sanders, college football player. He started out with his dad at the FCS. I think it's Jackson State. His dad, Deion Sanders, Hall of Famer, great football player, missing a toe.
Two-way player, especially interesting because the first two-way player since Deion just got drafted.
Yeah, Travis Hunter, who played for Colorado. Deion Sanders only has 7 or 8 toes, so I always think that's an interesting story.
Really?
Yeah, he had like some weird like blood clot in his pinky toe, and he had to like remove 2 of them. So if you ever seen a picture of his, go Google Deion Sanders' foot if you're not squeamish. But anyway, so his dad gets hired at Colorado. Shadur and Travis Hunter come with him. A bunch of players come with him. Big story, lots of hype, all these things. His son is like super cocky. Wears like gold chains everywhere, all these things, bunch of NIL money. But he was projected to be like potentially a top 3 pick in that draft here. Top 3. And didn't get drafted in the first round, day 1. Didn't get drafted in day 2. And when did Trump make this post? He made this post. Okay, he made this post before round 2 and 3 yesterday.
Yeah.
So that's even crazier. Okay, this is the post that Trump put out. What is wrong with NFL owners? Are they stupid? Deion Sanders was a great college football player and was even greater in the NFL. He's also a very good coach, streetwise and smart. Therefore, Shadur, his quarterback's son, has phenomenal genes and is all set for greatness. He should be picked immediately by a team that wants to win. Good luck, Shadur, and say hello to your wonderful father. What a random post.
And that was the second time that Trump weighed in on the NFL during the draft, and I just sent you the other time. Did you see this?
I don't
From
think so.
Thursday evening.
Let me pull it up. Okay.
Off script here real quick, Roger, but I just got off the phone with the President Donald Trump. He asked me to pass a message along to all 32 NFL franchises. So let me tell you what it reads here, all right? It says, my fellow Americans, the Bears still suck!
So kind of a big joke, but rewind back to the beginning of that with when Roger Goodell was still in the scene. They as soon as he says Donald Trump, Goodell like gets out of the shot.
Off script here real quick, Roger, but I just got off the phone with the President Donald Trump. He asked me to pass a message along to all 32.
Little Wayne, you hop in here. I'm going to sit this one out.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So anyhow, as you said, Shadur Sanders is he's got a reputation for being super cocky. He went to a bunch of different meetings. There were a whole slew of NFL teams he apparently thought he was too good for, or he didn't want to be in that situation, or he thought they were like a loser franchise. And so he gave terrible interviews. His reviews, everything since his playing career in college stopped, has been terrible.
Yep.
As you said, he was supposed to go like top 3. He doesn't go in the first round. Trump makes the statement. He doesn't go in round 2. He doesn't go in round 3. He got drafted 144th overall. So it's like a huge collapse. But in the lead up, it was like, this is the second best quarterback in the draft. Somebody's going to take this guy. He's going to like help them win. He's an amazing player. He's going to go in the first round. Mel Kiper freaked out the other day that no one was taking him. The media was trying to make this guy happen.
Yeah.
So that they could have like the soap opera of him and Dion, apparently. And I mean, you never know how much inside access and knowledge Trump has on any given issue, but it's possible that he's got a bunch of NFL owner contacts. I mean,
I'm sure.
I think we know that the Johnson family that owns the Jets are friends of Trump's. They went to Trump rallies and stuff. So there are connections between Trump and the NFL going all the way back to the Art of the Deal days. Who knows how much inside information he gets, but he brings national attention to the fact that this kid's not getting drafted. And then he just keeps sliding and sliding and sliding. And so all the work that the media did to make a thing of this guy just completely failed. All of their experts telling everyone where the draft picks were going to go was wrong. And it's just, it all, I love watching the expert class on television be wrong.
Oh yeah. And what's even funnier about it is the team that drafted him, the Browns, it was the second quarterback they took this draft.
Yeah.
They took one into the 3rd round, and then they take another one, Shadur, in the 5th round, and now they have like 5 or 6 quarterbacks on their roster.
Yeah, it's
like
crazy.
Shadur may never play for the first 5 years because there's so many options ahead of him. Who knows how he pans out? He might get an attitude change. But I love what you said there about that, like the expert class being wrong. Mm-hmm. After Shadur was picked, ESPN spent the next 10 picks talking about Shadur and all the issues about it. Like they ignored 10 straight picks. Like that's what kids are like living for, is their name to get called. They just ignored them all just so they could talk about the reasons he didn't get drafted and how so many people are, nobody's got the drafting of the quarterback right. Nobody's batting 1,000%. All these owners are wrong. Like Mel Kiper was, like you said, losing his mind. It's like it was his own son that didn't get drafted when they were supposed to in the first round. It was insane.
You really have to wonder what else is going on behind the scenes too. I mean, I'm a conspiracy theorist, so.
Oh, well, aren't we all a little bit?
Yeah. We should be. If people don't think other stuff's going on in the background with every situation in the world, they're nuts at this point.
Yeah, especially when you look at sports too, because sports is such a good distraction. We talk about this all the time. You know, the media and just the establishment, the elites in general, they always want us distracted so that we're not paying attention to what's really going on. And sports are a great way to do that. It's like the shiny toy. They put in the drama all over the place. And Shedeur Sanders was going to be the next like Kelsey Swift saga of the NFL, because this guy, he's got a social media following. He's got a presence. He's whatever. Outside of football, he's drama. And this would have been that. And it kind of didn't work out for him. And you hate to see it. But anyway. Man. How'd your team do in the draft? Steelers. They didn't
I'm relatively pleased with it. I wanted that quarterback Jackson Dart, but we'll see.
Did you? So just a funny name to me. But don't they have Fields, or did they trade him?
He's on the Jets now, I think. I still think they're going to sign Aaron Rodgers eventually, which I love.
Who's their quarterback now?
Mason Rudolph is the only one on the roster. And maybe this guy, Skylar Thompson, who's like a practice squad guy or something.
Yeah, former Kansas State guy. Interesting. NDSU, they had a guy drafted in the first round. They had like 5-6 people drafted. There's a certain point in the draft, like I think in the 6th round, where NDSU had more people drafted than Florida, Auburn, like all these huge big name schools. So
Southern Canada's crushing it.
Yeah, we are crushing it indeed. Anyway, yeah, let's talk about
yeah, good. I was like, let's do this other fun one before we get into serious stuff.
You can go for it.
I mean, I just think it's awesome that he's going to do a rally. I think it's awesome that he's going to do a rally in Michigan. The announcement from the press secretary was President Trump is excited to return to the great state of Michigan next Tuesday, where he will rally in Macomb County to celebrate the first 100 days. And with so much going on, I think that that's really funny. And then particularly funny because Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, was just in the White House the other day with a binder up in front of her face, trying to hide, basically destroying her any chance that she would ever have to be taken seriously in national politics.
Yeah, it's interesting to go there of all places. So it makes me wonder, like, what is Michigan known for? Automobiles. Is there going to be some sort of announcement? He always announces stuff like that when he goes and does these things. So I wonder what it's going to be, But also some of the chatter I've seen on social media that I think is interesting is like the left is trying to paint Trump's first 100 days as like the worst. Like it's been terrible, right? He hasn't done anything, all these things. The truther community is kind of like, no, it's been perfect. He's literally not done anything wrong. Nothing has gone wrong at all. It's been perfect. He's batting 1,000 the first 100 days. And I'm kind of in the middle. I'm like, I don't know. Like it's just been 100 days. Like I don't think we've seen the results of most of the things that he's implemented. I think there's been a lot of kayfabe and bullshit going on. I think a lot of fake news stories. And I'm just curious to see how he's going to present the 100 days. As like he's going to present it as no president in history has ever done 100 days like this. I already know it, but I'm curious. What do you think about these first 100 days?
Well, first off, the optics of a rally to commemorate the first 100 days is going to be another one of those examples of an indirect proof of his overwhelming mandate. Seeing 40 or 50 or 100,000 people having a great time at a Trump rally and cheering Trump on as he's done all this stuff, it's going to be real hard to sell the idea that his first 100 days have been really bad.
Yep.
I am content to be patient with the things that the administration is doing. I don't see a reason to like be critical, but I think that, as I talked about with Gordon last week, I think it still is incumbent upon the American people to speak up and demand that more be done to fix the problems that we've been dealing with and hearing about for the last decade. And of course, much longer. And then, the Russiagate thing, the COVID thing, the wars in foreign lands, every element of the soft coup, there's all these things that need to be taken care of. And I think that people have to keep demanding that stuff, but we don't need to do it like in a way where it's like losing faith in Trump or anything.
No,
it's just that, the people, if he's being responsive to the people, then the people have to make demands and then he responds. And it seems like everything we're dealing with is a push toward the creation of a consensus around all the stuff that he has to do. And so the way that we make that happen faster and show that consensus is we demand, hey, look at all these criminals, arrest them.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like, if you don't arrest them, I'm just out. Like if you don't arrest them by the end of the week, I'm done with this. That's what people on Twitter do, you know, because they emote the same way that like Bernie Sanders and AOC supporters do. And that stuff's retarded. But we can say we want this stuff to be done and say that in our personal lives to other people so that they understand, yes, these things are actually necessary. So I don't know. Is that mixed signals? I don't know.
No, that's a good answer. By the way, have you seen the dark woke thing?
I did see that.
That story's insane. It's so funny. But
remember when they tried Dark Brandon?
Yep. The laser eyes, man. It almost worked. Maybe if they chose a different color laser eyes, it would have worked better. But with what you said there, you think of how big the government is and how many things are broken and need to be fixed. Like I'm just thinking of even Badlands, right? Like there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff with Badlands that I can't do myself, so I delegate it, and I have no idea what those people are doing most of the time. I have no idea. I have my faith in them to get the job done. And if one of those people ended up being like awful and wanted to totally sabotage Badlands, they could, or they could just totally not be doing their job, and I wouldn't know unless like I do our checkup or something goes wrong. The same thing to like times a million is going on in the federal government. Trump can't go into every single agency and monitor every single thing that's being done and make sure it's done right. He can't do that himself. So while I have a lot of faith in Trump, we have to also put a faith in a lot of people that I didn't vote for. You know, those are the people that I'm more concerned with.
Sure.
And we're seeing it often how we like there's people being fired for leaks. There's people being fired for intelligence bullshit. Like the DNI just did a couple last week. The DOD, we're going to talk about the Defense Policy Board. Nobody even knew Susan Rice was on that board until I think it was Gabrielle Guccio who broke that story. And now they're gone, but they didn't realize it. And once they did, they fired them. How many other situations are there like that? And if we aren't the ones calling for that stuff, is it going to get fixed? You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at. Trust Trump, but there's a lot to fix, and I don't trust everybody else.
Yeah, and that's totally reasonable. And I think your example about running a company and having people that work for you with jobs that you don't know how to do, and you're not in constant contact with them.
I know how to do them. I just don't want to do it. No, just kidding. Sorry.
Fair enough. But either way, think about it. In Trump's case, you have, a couple hundred people that you appoint beneath you. You can't possibly know all of them extraordinarily well. I'm sure that they've been vetting for years and have a pretty good understanding, but then they come into organizations that are already established with thousands and thousands of employees that are definitely, or not definitely, but very likely unknowns. Yeah. So yeah, that's a very complicated situation. And we have to understand that.
Yeah. Our government is so convoluted. It's so convoluted.
Yeah.
And then that's just like the executive branch, like not to mention Congress has been totally worthless.
They're illegitimate. I mean, what are they going to do? They haven't done anything since
Literally
2020
nothing.
And maybe nothing before that. I mean, all they've done is continue pushing the spending packages along. And because the uniparty needs those to survive and doesn't care about the law or how anything's done, they could just say that they passed it, put the performance on in the Congress, and then have Joe Biden's auto pen sign things for the last 4 years. None of that stuff's going to stand. So, when we look back at this, once this period's over, we'll be like, oh, see that? They didn't do anything for like 6 years in a row. Oh yeah, it's because they're illegitimate.
It is kind of funny, like thinking back to Biden's term, how many bills they got passed through that Biden ended up signing, even though they were like awful bills and auto pen, whatever. They did a lot. I'm pretty sure they've only passed one bill so far this Congress, and it was the Lake and Riley Act. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't think of a single other actual like bill that's been passed other than every week the best example of a rerun you're going to get is the spending bill stuff. Every week it's a new story of Mike Johnson's package, how some Republicans don't like it. All the Democrats hate it, but now we finally get some momentum. Like every Monday, it's going to be a challenge. By Friday, they found some, made some headway. Then over the weekend, something goes wrong. Monday, it's the same story again, and it's going to be this way until we get to the deadline. Like, okay, by Friday, the government shuts down again. We run out of money. They'll pass the thing, and we'll do the same thing again until September, over and over and over again. And that's all they've been doing, other than breastfeeding on the Senate floor. Like, that's it.
At least they're not doing what they were doing. I don't even want to describe it, but a couple of years ago.
Were you talking about the gay sex on the Senate?
That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Did you see that story of that guy? He's found happiness now that he's in Australia and he's on OnlyFans and he's much wealthier and happier than he's ever been. Did you not see that story?
No, I saw something. I saw some story about how well he was doing, but it showed a picture of him next to Joe Biden. And I thought like he got a new job or something. I didn't realize that was his new job.
I don't know if I want to type this into my browser, but I'm going to try to look this up. Oh yeah, here it is. I think talks about let me see this right one. Oh, that's not it. It's the one I read. I think it was New York Post. And whatever. Ash, if you're watching, she's the one who sent it to me originally, so she can resend it again. Otherwise, we'll come back. We'll circle back to that one. But yeah, he's much happier now. Okay, let's do. Man, I don't even know. Let's maybe do the Trump meeting with Zelensky stuff quick. This is such a weird. Trump's overseas. He's going to the Pope's funeral, and while he's over there, in front of everybody, he decides to have a impromptu meeting. Impromptu. I'm putting quotes around that. 'Cause I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's very impromptu. But they sit down. We're in eye shot of everybody, photo opportunity, talking super close, super serious. And after this, allegedly, this good meeting, Trump is now upset with Putin. I don't know if you've seen that story.
Before we get to that part, Tide Turner in my Telegram chat, he's joined us at least one GART before. He sent this over. And this video is like the guy's like a body language expert or something. And he's like reviewing the body language of the Trump Zelensky meeting. And I don't care about the body language analysis, but there's one thing that he noticed that I hadn't noticed and I haven't seen talked about. So let's check this out for a second.
Facial expression. He's delighted of seeing Macron here. I don't know if Trump expected that at that moment, but I'm going to tell you something right in a minute that Trump already knew what was coming, because just in case, notice that this guy, I need to do this like simultaneously. Two things are happening at the same time as they are turning back to greet Macron. This guy was already moving the chairs, and especially getting rid of one of the chairs. It's like Trump already knew what was going on, what was about to happen, and he pre-ordered for the third chair to be removed, because there's no way Trump is not talking to the guy to move the chairs. Zelensky is greeting Macron with that, that like
bro shake
of hand to the chest, that kind of greeting that is much more informal than just a handshake. He's got his hand on Macron's back. Okay, Macron is leaning into Zelensky. This is the thing that I found it interesting. You remember that usually when we see, for example, we have seen Macron with Justin Trudeau, for example, they are so close to each other. And when Macron has been with Zelensky, they are so close to each other. But this time, Macron decided to...
Anyway, it was mostly about him moving the other chair away. But it's interesting that if you remember the last time Trump presented himself as king of the world at Notre Dame Cathedral almost 6 months ago, he manhandled Emmanuel Macron.
Yeah.
That was like the handshake where he just like threw him around like a rag doll. So Zelensky was kind of doing that to him there. And they took the third chair away. They took Macron's chair away.
Was Macron originally supposed to talk with them?
I think that's the implication of having the three chairs and having him show up at that moment. he's going to sit in on the meeting.
That's interesting. Like, why Macron? Who gives a shit about Macron?
I don't know. Maybe he's the most powerful one of the European leaders. That's probably true, actually.
Is it though?
I don't know.
Maybe his wife / dad is, but Macron
on that side of things, I mean, Ursula von der Leyen, it's not Keir Starmer.
No, I don't think any of them. I don't think any of them have any power. But yeah, it's just.
I agree, but in terms of prominence and importance, it seems like Macron's in the lead position there.
Yeah, I could get on board with that. If we're going to say they're all irrelevant, he is the least irrelevant.
Yeah,
of them all. We can go with that. But yeah, that's interesting. Anyway, so they have this meeting, and this is what came out of the UK, the Telegraph, today afterwards. Trump turns against Putin. President rages over Russian attacks and being strung along by Moscow after historic meeting with Zelensky at Pope's funeral. He, after holding one-on-one talks, he accused the Russian president of stringing him along in the negotiations to end the war. And this is like a day after Witkoff was just meeting with Putin, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he just there yesterday?
Yeah.
And he warned he was prepared to hit Moscow with fresh sanctions, which don't do anything at this point because Moscow has basically gotten to the point where they're sanction proof after all the stuff Biden tried to do. That was one of my favorite threads from Gonzalo Lira, the guy. What's his name? Gonzalo, yeah. The guy who died in Ukraine, or who's in WITSEC now, probably, according to everybody who dies goes to WITSEC. After leaving Rome, where he also held talks with European allies, Mr. Trump said there was no reason for Putin to be shooting missiles into civilian areas, cities, and towns over the last few days. See, this makes me feel like...
Should we just go through the post?
Oh, we could, yeah.
Yeah, I just sent it over in the chat.
I think I got it here. It's this one, right?
That's the one.
Yeah, that's a long post. No matter what deal I make with respect to Russia, Ukraine, no matter how good it is, even if it's the greatest deal ever made, the failing New York Times will speak badly of it. Little Peter Baker, the very biased and untalented writer for the Times, followed his editor's demands and wrote that Ukraine should get back territory, including, I suppose, Crimea and other ridiculous requests in order to stop the killing that is worse than anything since World War II. Why doesn't this lightweight reporter say that it was Obama who made it possible for Russia to steal Crimea from Ukraine without even a shot being fired? It was also Little Peter who wrote an absolutely fawning yet terribly written biography on Obama. It was a joke. Did Baker ever criticize an Obama Crimea giveaway? No, not once. Only Trump. And I've had nothing to do with the stupid war other than early on when I gave Ukraine javelins and Obama gave them sheets. This is Sleepy Joe Biden's war, not mine. It was a loser from day one and should have never happened and wouldn't have happened if I were president at the time. I'm just trying to clean up the mess that was left for me by Obama and Biden. What a mess it is. With all of that being said, there was no reason for Putin to be shooting missiles into civilian areas, cities, and towns over the last few days. It makes me think that maybe he doesn't want to stop the war. He's just tapping me along and has to be dealt with differently through banking or secondary sanctions. Too many people are dying.
I mean, it all seems like narrative manipulation to me, including the reports on attacks and the car bombing that we saw yesterday. That was the thing. They had, so while they're in peace negotiations, Putin decides to bomb Kyiv for the first time.
I said the other day it was a false flag.
Oh, yeah.
And then the car bombing thing.
Right. Which is also probably bullshit.
Probably. But just that phrasing there, like, what does that mean for Israel? Because they've kind of been doing the same thing, bombing civilian areas over there, right? Mm-hmm. Has he said anything along these lines about them?
Well, he did tell Netanyahu, like today, that he has to be nicer to Gaza and that they need to get their food and supplies in.
Did you see the report? Oh, yeah, you're the one who sent this, I think. Zelensky expects the U.S. to provide long-term security assistance modeled on the U.S. relationship with Israel. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, the first thing is that was a tweet from Leading Report. Maybe we should, I didn't actually see it. I didn't search that after. Maybe we should just do a quick search and see if there's any reporting on that, because it's one of those signals that if it's legit, it's important. And maybe they're just front running on this or whatever. That would be something. And, there's, of course, plans to have Ukraine be that.
Yeah.
You're not finding much on it?
Well, I mean, there's one story, but I've never heard of this 21st Century Wire.
Right. Do they source from anywhere?
Let's see. I'm not seeing anything. I mean, there's other links here. I just want to see if I can find here we go. Deliberations about an Israeli model. Oh, it's from RT News. Oh, this is from 2023.
But yeah, this is not a new idea. This is something that's been talked about for a long time.
See, I had no idea. So is this from 2023? This is 2025. What the hell?
ChatGPT says Zelensky has publicly urged the United States to provide Ukraine with long-term security assistance modeled after the U.S.-Israel relationship.
Okay, so they put forward a counter proposal.
And that,
Okay.
I mean, it's
Here we
from
go.
today, but a site that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, apparently RT is saying that according to the deal that they did have in place, or the U.S., the draft proposal that the Washington presented, this is before the meeting that they left last minute. Ukraine and NATO put forth a counter proposal, and I think they're saying the Israel model's in there. So it's coming from NATO.
This is Voice of America 10 days ago. Zelensky calls for same defense from allies as for Israel. That would be very interesting. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. But I guess the point was that Israel's not a member of NATO, but they still essentially enjoy the same protection that NATO has, or that the NATO nations have.
Well, yeah, all these world leaders are dual citizens. Pretty sweet.
It's all
deal
the
they got.
same regime. Yeah. I mean, we're the military, not we. The United States is the military force. We are Team America World Police for the global regime wherever it exists.
Team America World Police. I haven't seen the movie in so long.
So great.
That's so good. Yeah. So weird. This whole story is weird. The way Trump even being mad at Putin after just talking to Zelensky, it's on its face. It's just silly. You know what I mean? Like, okay, Zelensky, you convinced me in a photo op conversation, one-on-one, where we are a foot from each other's face. You convinced me with your heartfelt message and in your t-shirt that I should be mad at Putin. This is definitely his fault. Like, no, that's not at all what happened. Like, there's more to this. I don't know what it is, but
well, he said Vladimir stopped the other day too.
Oh, yeah, stop it, please. Please stop being mean to Ukraine.
And the Trump haters on the television were saying it was like when Biden said don't.
Oh yeah, don't. Oh dang it, I should have had that queued up. Had I known you were going to say that.
Well, that would
Don't.
So great.
Miss that, man.
Okay, please give us a credit.
It's hard not to miss him.
It's hard. Yeah. So there's that. I don't even know what else to go into that, but there is some other like geopolitical stuff that I think is kind of interesting. Well, I guess this came out today too. NATO is pressuring or lobbies Trump again not to pressure Ukraine into a peace deal. They are sad that they have nothing to do with these negotiations and are trying everything they can to get involved. But we have a couple interesting side notes, and I'm not even sure what I think about these yet, but I think they're important stories. So if you have anything to add, we can. Otherwise, maybe next week we can get Ghost on. Actually,
I would just say that Mark Rutte came to the White House and had a long, very friendly meeting with Trump. And in that meeting, Trump said a lot of nice things about Rutte. And he was like, my family is going to be overjoyed to hear you say all these nice things about me. He was like, effusive.
I don't even know who this is.
He was the prime minister of the Netherlands, I think. I could be getting that wrong, but yeah, he came and was super nice, super complimentary, on board with everything. Very thankful that Trump was in the position he was in. Very happy to be working with him. So that message, again, that you just read in that headline, that's kind of a friendly piece of advice. Please don't pressure Ukraine.
Yeah.
And, you know, Ukraine as avatar for the global regime in these negotiations is the way I always look at these things, right? It's Russia and, as Bibi would say, the sovereign alliance negotiating against the global regime, Russia as the avatar, Ukraine as the avatar.
Interesting. Yeah, I like that perspective. And this is why this thing is so silly to me too, because like as part of like the sovereign alliance theory that we talk about, like these deals are already done. It's the conclusion has already been determined. It's just getting there, and the story's told to get there. Probably some actuals that are going to happen to get there too, which is probably why it's taking so long. Is some of the actuals may not always go according to plan, but eventually, like the conclusion is predetermined. It's going to get there. But there's other things along the way, like the economic stuff and the financial stuff that also go into forcing these other countries to reach that conclusion. I think that's being used leverage wise along that line. Have you talked? This is a total aside. Have you looked at the phase 1 trade deal from 2020 recently?
I have not.
Dude, I went back and looked at that this week on the show, and I think that's where we're gonna end up with the same trade deal that we had in place in 2020 after the end of these negotiations with China.
Did you hear the comment from Trump in the Time interview about how they already have deals set up with 200 countries? Yeah. And the reporter was like apoplectic. He didn't know how to respond to that. He's like, well, can you share them with us? He's like, no, I just know them.
What's he waiting for to release it though? I think I think he wants to do them all at once, because I think some of the deals are going to have like sanctions on China to like force China into the table. But I don't know, the whole China saga is interesting. But if you look at the trade deal, I'll pull this up. This is phase 1, 2020. They're requiring China to increase purchases of U.S. products by at least $200 billion over the 2017 levels, and they're going to split that over 2 years. And then we're going to buy more, and they list all the goods and everything. Like there's a great report out here. I'll post this in the chat. I'll send it to you too, Chris. But I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to wind up with something very similar to this deal, adjusted for inflation, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, to me, this would be a Devo proof, because it's like picking up right where they left off. But there's a whole bunch of stories and stuff that need to happen in the meantime while they take care of other business. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's broadly like a macro picture. That's just what's going on.
Yeah. But okay, a couple other stories I think are interesting. This is one, the Syria one, because it was before Trump was inaugurated, wasn't it, that they threw out Assad, or whatever the guy's name was, the other Syrian leader, and he fled to Russia. And while that was happening, both Russia and the US were like bombing ISIS and their locations all over Syria. And then this guy, Ahmed al-Shara, was put in. And now this guy wants to normalize relations with Israel. And again, I don't understand the dynamics here. I'm not as familiar with this as like a Ghost would be. Maybe you understand what's going on here. But I think this is a big story. I'm not even sure why. It's one of those.
I feel like I just heard Donald Trump or someone say, but I'm pretty sure it was Trump, that they're going to have Abraham Accords with a whole bunch more countries. What was I listening to the other day? I think maybe he said it in one of those Oval Office exchanges with the press. Someone in the chat's probably like, he said it in this situation. Somebody definitely saw it. But yeah, that makes sense.
This is Biden did nothing with it, did not build on it at all. That was March.
Yeah. No, it was just something within the last couple of days.
The Abraham Accords. I don't want to get myself on this one, but they say for the Abraham Accords. And by the way, speaking of that, we're going to be filling it up. A lot of countries want to come into the Abraham Accords. You know, we have 4. And Biden did nothing on that one, too. It's the same 4. But they're great countries, and they were brave doing it, and it's worked out very well. And we're going to be filling up the Abraham Accords. They're going to be, I think, filling it up very rapidly.
That's notable.
Very notable. Yeah.
And then the story comes out about Syria. Okay, well, that's interesting. That's very
so, and thinking big picture, right? So Israel's bombing the absolute hell out of Palestine, right?
Yep.
All the Arab countries have always sided with Palestine. And while Israel's bombing the hell out of Palestine and threatening war with Iran, they're also going to sign off on more Abraham Accords. That makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
So something is obviously not true there. And I would suggest the thing that is not true is the bombing the hell out of Palestine. And any chance at war with Iran. I think there are probably kinetic events that happen similar to terrorist events. I think that they're potentially like maybe extremist groups that get involved with stuff, or special forces of some sort.
CIA,
I don't know.
probably.
Cartel violence, terrorist violence. Yeah, whatever it is. I mean, I think of all of those things kind of as part of the whole. I mean, the global regime has a number of ways to create violence in the world. And formerly they had CIA run military ops essentially. And then that was nixed. But the cartels are private armies of the global regime. The terrorist groups are private armies of the global regime. And then they have grassroots extremist groups as well.
Yeah.
And then of course, street gangs to carry out hits and whatnot. So a lot of the stuff that is real and really terrible doesn't actually require a nation state using its military for strikes.
Yeah. Did you see the story the other day of Israel and their AI development? Like what they used to kill that one leader?
No. Well, something sounds familiar about that, but no. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here. Their AI experiments. And to me, this is just disclosure that shoot, I gotta get behind the paywall here 1 second. It was disclosure that like the technology they have is so far ahead of the game than what they actually released to us. Because in here they say so Israeli officers turned to a new military technology infused with AI. The technology was developed a decade earlier, but hadn't been used in battle yet. And what it did was it listened to, or here, shortly thereafter, Israel listened to Mr. Bayari's calls and tested the AI audio tool, which gave an approximate location for where he was making his calls underground in these tunnels. And using that information, they ordered airstrikes and killed him and the civilians or whatever. But they listened to his calls underground. The AI was able to determine where he was based on noise underground, and they bombed him with that. Like, that's insane. It was tech from 10 years ago. Like, imagine what they have now that they don't allow us to play with.
There was just a story last week about Palantir signing a contract to provide AI defense technology to NATO.
Yeah.
So,
yep,
yeah,
it's a big story.
It's so far the technology stuff is obviously so far beyond where we understand it to be. I mean, we're starting to see it. And it's funny when you know that the tech is way more advanced, when you know AI is way more advanced than the Chat GPT that we get to play around with, then it just seems like we are getting rolled out iterations closer to what it is they actually have. And that's kind of an optimistic viewpoint, I guess, to think that that's the purpose of this phase, is to get us accustomed to it in like a stepwise fashion so that we like aren't totally like disoriented by what its capabilities are and how that might influence the things that we've been watching for years.
Yeah, I also think part of it too is like they'll give us stuff and they'll put, a paywall on it or something, and that helps fund the further development of the 400 editions ahead of us that they are. But it's freaky stuff, man. Like, we're sitting here worried, like, oh, they're probably monitoring my cell phone, like when we have conversations, and it's like, dude, they have AI doing that to every one of us all the time, undetectable, and they know everything about us. It's insane. Don't get real ID though. Don't get real ID because they can track you.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it wasn't like that. I would be one of the people out there saying not to get real ID, but it is like that. They already have all our stuff. And that was like one of those things that I used to think about in 2020 and 2021 like while I was taking a lot of heat and my social reputation and my job and my life were being just destroyed, it was like, well, they already know everything we're saying. You know, all the times that we were like, oh, you got to be secure, use this app and not this app. It's like you're playing a losing game. The only way to win that game is to not do anything that you're not okay with other people knowing.
Yeah, 100%. Plus, like Real ID, you literally need 3 forms of government issued identification to get it, to get a separate form of government issued identification. So anyway, let's not piss everybody off by talking about that. Okay, so that's a good story. I thought this was interesting and notable, like with the Iran stuff, with the Russia stuff, with the United States trying to come to a deal about nuclear energy and stuff with Iran and peace and everything, and how this plays into the whole Middle Eastern politics. Russia makes a deal with Iran, another one having to do with a major gas plant and a nuclear plant, I think. Yeah. With they're building a nuclear plant with Moscow financing while the USA is negotiating what levels of uranium enrichment they're allowed to have. I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting. And if you think about the two sides of the Iran-Israel confrontation, the United States, of course, is always on the side of Israel. And now Russia is on the side of Iran, but we're negotiating with Russia. These things would not make any sense if we're just talking about countries. It makes complete sense when you're talking about good twin, evil twin stuff, and you understand that this is narrative manipulations on high-level geopolitical issues that aren't being decided by the comedic actor in Ukraine. You know, he's not the one choosing whether or not Ukraine is going to take the deal. He is a figurehead.
Yeah.
It's not the idea that Volodymyr Zelensky is dictating world events right now is preposterous.
Yeah, I agree. And he's a figurehead, I think, for the bad guys. Some people think he's for the good guys. It could be either way, but
when you're penned in enough, the difference becomes indistinguishable. And as long as we step back and understand that we're not going to, that the purpose of this is not to figure out who our like buddies are and then pretend they're our best friends and be like, oh, they're secret white hats. We have to support everything they do. If you can let go of that side of it, then you look at the net effects. I mean, and I was having the same conversation with Ghost today, and I think that we're pretty well aligned on these things now. But the idea that Netanyahu, maybe evil past, whatever, if the net effect is that he is destroying the mystique of Israel and the U.S. like total supplication to Israel that spans decades, well, then he's doing a great thing for us and a great thing for the world. So
that's a great point.
If you're penned in by something like Devolution, you know, we used to talk about the playpen.
Yep.
If we have that situation with other world leaders, and certainly that's the situation. I mean, the Sovereign Alliance, to the extent that that's a thing, would clearly be much more powerful than the global regime and its few weak, feckless countries with idiot leaders and no military that still remain.
Yeah. Well, when I look at this stuff, whether it's Netanyahu or Zelensky or whatever, I almost go back and compare it to the election of 2024 here, where it got to a point where it was untenable for them to steal that election. It was, they couldn't get away with it for any number of reasons. One, because he was actually going to win, but even narratively, they couldn't sell it, right? And it's the same thing with all these situations, whether it's the Middle East or Ukraine. At a certain point, and I think we're getting there. I mean, we probably crossed it a long time ago, but we're even getting closer. If anything, Trump is the one that's helping put it back on the table. But there's a point where it's going to be untenable for them to continue to support and fund this war like they've been trying to do. And support for the war was really hot at the beginning, but it's like in the negatives now everywhere. Nobody wants to send money there anymore. Nobody cares about the war in Ukraine anymore. I would argue there's not many people that care about the war in the Middle East anymore either. Like you kind of just alluded to, like, let's just get this over with. Let's end it.
We're there. So what happens to the regime if they're still pushing for it regardless? right?
Yeah.
There's no chance it's going to happen. Nobody wants it, but they keep pushing for it. So that destroys them. You know, the Ukraine thing made everybody take another look at World War II and understand that, oh, wait a second, there have just been Nazis there the whole time. And we were like training them and funding them. And the global regime took over this country after overthrowing their government. And they've been waging ethnic civil war for 8 years before this war actually started. Holy moly.
How many people actually know that, though? How many people actually know that, though? Because I feel like,
I mean,
very few outside of our community.
The relative percentage in the world that knows that compared to 5 years ago is, and I didn't know it 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm one of the, so we are some of the people that have had that awakening. And if other people have it a little later, fine, right? But the Ukraine war has exposed what that is and exposed the system and exposed some of the false history. The Israel thing has done the exact same thing. And so at this point, no one has an appetite for any more war, especially not these wars. And you've got neocons like Mark Levin losing his mind every day about how we need to attack Iran. These people are burning their reputations down. The countries are burning their reputations down. And a century of propaganda that was hammered into our heads is just being eradicated before our eyes. I think it's incredible.
Did you see that Mark Levin just got like added to some board?
The Homeland Security Board.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Like, why the heck would you get put on here unless it's because he's a war hawk and this is how you expose it? Yeah, blah blah blah. HSAC, Homeland Security Advisory Council, they're putting Henry McMaster. I wonder if he's related to General McMaster in any way.
No. Did you actually see the thing about the phone calls a couple weeks ago? Like someone in Trump's office dialed HR McMaster and Trump got on the phone with HR McMaster and thought it was Henry and like they hung up. And this is the story. The reporting goes that he said, "Why the F would I be calling HR McMaster?"
What? Why have I not heard the story?
I don't know. I think it was in the Daily Mail or something.
Hold on. I got to find this.
Yeah. Trump call HR McMaster. I think it'll probably pull right up.
I'm just looking on Twitter right now, but oh, here we go. Oh my gosh. Trump drops F-bomb on call after accidentally ringing former advisor he hates. Oh my gosh. He dialed a very wrong number and ended up chewing out his former national security advisor. Happened when Trump accidentally rang his former NSA HR McMaster. That's a big name because he's the one who came right after Flynn. He got rid of the deep state hit list guys, the Rich Higgins, Ezra Cohen Watnick, Steve Bannon, Derek Harvey, all them. It's a bit of unfortunate timing. Who got this story? Like, who leaked this story?
I don't know.
Mr. President, this is HR McMaster, he responded according to the number. Why the F would I talk to HR McMaster?
And Henry McMaster is great. I mean, as far as any of these governors are great, you never really know. But I love listening to that guy talk. He's got the best accent ever. And he had one of my, like, the loyalist thing I've ever seen said about Donald Trump was spoken by Henry McMaster, and I want to see if I can find it.
What did he say?
I actually just want to, I don't want to botch it. I think I can find the video. It was at this.
Is that the convention?
No, it was at a South Carolina event where Trump came down to talk to South Carolina Republicans in maybe 2022. And
the finish line? No.
I'm
finding a few videos that he's. You sure it's 2022?
I'm not sure it's 2022, but it's
is it the lipstick one?
No. I mean, we don't need to. Trump was speaking before the South Carolina GOP, the GOP leadership.
Okay. Well, we're committed to finding this video now, so now we have to.
We'll do it.
There's a lot of videos of this guy talking ahead of Trump at
what, rallies?
Yeah.
I'm going to use the machine to find
Was-
this for me.
Was it outside?
No, it was indoors in a like relatively small venue. It was like 500 people.
Okay. Hold over process. You guys hit that thumbs up if you don't mind. No, actually, while you're doing that, while you're looking for that, I'm gonna read one of our Rumble ads.
Awesome.
Let me just get it pulled up here. All right, we got Rumble Premium. This sponsorship is from Rumble, one that is incredibly important to the survival of the company. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built a platform for the small creator. They didn't censor or have biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversation or censor opinions on COVID, but they did. Facebook admitted they fell to pressure from the Biden and Harris administration. Rumble did not. They held the line. They are attacked daily for giving us a voice to talk to you. They are attacked in corporate media. They are attacked by governments like France. They are attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. Corporate America is fighting to remove speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers. They don't get much of it. Watching our show on Rumble is the most they can ask from you. But if you really believe in this fight, and if you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with the promo code STUDIO when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium and use code STUDIO. Like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now is the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, we're just happy if you watch us here on Rumble. And we're also happy if you hit that thumbs up. Greatly appreciated. I think we're still being featured. Yeah, I got a good crowd tonight.
All right, I have found the video, and I bet that within 30 seconds I will have the answer we need.
No worries. Let's check out the chat. How are you guys doing in the chat? Is Ash in the chat yet? Oh, she texted me earlier too. If we really want to see that, I think it's a little late for the Dem Staff article, but
I don't know I don't know how bad we need that. Here we are. I don't know if that was 30 seconds or not, but I am pretty sure that this is going to do it right here. We up? I'll do it. Here we go.
There we go.
Let's see how this goes. So Trump's going to turn it over to Henry McMaster right now. As soon as I turn the volume on.
Representatives Wilson, Fry, Timmons, Ambassador McMullen, and based on that list, please go quickly. Other than
I have it at 125, just so that everybody's like, Trump's talking really fast.
other than Henry, I don't know. Henry and Lindsay. But why don't you start it off? Thank you, Henry, very much. Please.
Thank you. Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you.
As you have noticed, this crowd loves you. People all over the state. And that's because we believe in common sense. We believe in the Declaration of Independence. We believe in the Constitution. We believe in the Bible. And we believe in you. Real quick, y'all. I want to welcome everybody here. And it occurred to me as the president was talking, and I was thinking about what was happening, is we know that sometimes the Lord moves in mysterious ways, might go one way to come back another later. Well, here we are. When Donald Trump was president, America was soaring, records everywhere, more strength, more respect. Our enemies were petrified, our friends were comforted. And then we had an election and everything changed. But since then, the people have clearly seen the damage that can be done by an administration and leaders who do not believe in the goodness and greatness of America. They have shown their true colors, and now we have their playbook. We know who they are. I have never heard so many people out there quoting Pete Townsend of The Who said, "We won't get fooled again." And we're coming. We're coming back stronger than before. And in November 2024, we will re-elect Donald Trump, and we will see a burst of freedom and prosperity unlike any we have ever seen before. We follow you all the way. Thank you.
Awesome.
I love that
Lindsey
when he
Graham.
says, I love that when he says, we'll follow you all the way.
Yeah.
And he said the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Bible, like he said all the things that are like, it's going that direction.
Yeah, no, he's great. I do like that accent too.
Yeah.
Awesome. That was worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go a couple more geopolitical stories. I think I had one more. Maybe not. Oh, this one I just thought was interesting. Speaking of nuclear deals, U.S. is eyeing a nuclear power deal with Armenia. Like, we're going to see a lot more of these, I think. These are going to be everywhere. The U.S. is going to be helping other countries build out their nuclear technology and nuclear energy. And how this correlates to the Bitcoin stuff is also intriguing to me. And I wonder why Armenia. It just seems so random.
Well, I mean, think about where Armenia is too.
Yeah.
Like in the world.
Yeah. I suppose I can pull up the map.
Yeah. Let's pull up the map. It shares a border with Iran.
Yep. And so, yeah, so while Russia's doing the same thing with Iran,
yep,
the United States is doing it with Armenia.
Yeah. And Armenia borders Georgia, which might as well be Russia, you know?
Yeah. The Georgia Armenia line. Isn't that a band?
Well done, John.
Thanks. Why can't I find a map of Armenia here? Oh, whatever. You guys get it.
Does it just keep pulling up Glendale, California?
No, it just keeps pulling up the freaking Wikipedia page, which doesn't have the map on it, but here we go.
And by the way, for all the people who are like, is he being racist? No, I'm not. It just turns out that Glendale, California has a higher density Armenian population than Armenia does.
Is that true?
Yes.
Whoa. Glendale, California has more Armenians than Armenia does?
No, a higher density population.
Okay, well, clarify.
So there's a lot of Armenians in a small area, and Armenia, for all its space, has more Armenians, but they're spread out.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, this would have been a great episode to actually have Ghost on, considering all the geopolitical stuff we talked about. I think that's all I have for geopolitics.
That is really so interesting, though. So we are setting up a nuclear deal with Armenia.
Yes.
That borders on Iran, the place that we're making sure can't have nuclear weapons.
Right next to it.
Right.
While Russia is doing the same thing with that country.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird, man. I don't get it. But
it doesn't make sense unless the stories we're being told about these conflicts are bullshit or they're just being improperly framed.
Ghost says important pipeline from Azerbaijan, Georgia, Turkey bypasses Armenia. Strange. Oh.
Wait, I wonder if he means bypasses as in they routed it around Armenia on purpose, or
Ghost, I'm just gonna send you a link. Come on, explain this to us like we're 5, and then you can get off again. So it's in your Telegram whenever you're ready. Because you can touch on a few other things that we missed. There's one other story I was gonna do. Just clicking through it. I haven't even read this one yet. This headline I thought was so funny. From beyond the grave, Francis brought Ukrainian peace a little closer. The one is by dying, he brought peace amongst the world. Funny.
Man, you gosh, when was it that the Pope died? I guess it was it was Sunday last week or Monday.
It was 1:15
in the middle of the night.
Yeah. AM.
So I talked on Monday about the Pope dying, and there was some interesting coverage on War Room where they talked about a color revolution against Pope Benedict that took him out and replaced him with Francis. And then Francis didn't actually live in the normal papal abode. He lived elsewhere. And there were some other things as I went along.
Devolution papacy.
Our boy Francis.
Boy Benny. Oh, yeah, I guess when people, well, so Francis would be the Biden term.
Well,
in the sense of devolution. Okay. Right. Yeah. Interesting. I'm curious to see, like, I do find it interesting coming from like a Catholic education background, the conclave stuff. It's interesting to me.
There was another interesting element to that. And, you know, we're in conspiracy theory land for all the sensitive people who have just seen the show for the first time. But the delay, however long Francis was kept alive, allowed something like, I think it was over 40 of the Cardinals to age into their 80th year since 2020, which makes them ineligible for the voting.
Is that true?
Yep.
No way. All it took was JD Vance to go over there and murder him. What the hell? I didn't even realize
he didn't
that was a
say
rule.
thank you even once.
There's Ghost. All right, Ghost, explain us everything we got wrong so far.
No, nothing you got wrong. The pipeline is interesting because it is the BTC pipeline.
The Bitcoin pipeline?
Yes, exactly.
Very interesting.
Say
more about that.
And I don't really know what to. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, so it's the Baku Tbilisi or Tbilisi Sion pipeline. Yeah, Tbilisi, I think is how
you're talking about. You're saying BTC just as the initials of the countries?
Not an actual Bitcoin. They're not sending
that's
Bitcoin
literally
in a pipeline.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No. It's not a Bitcoin pipeline, but it's actually the BTC is the name of it, pipeline. And it runs from, if you pull up a map of it, or I have a map of it here, it runs, it's a really goofy looking pipeline to like the whole current geopolitical.
Are you streaming
situation.
from that pipeline right now?
Yeah. Am I breaking up?
A lot. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. Let's see.
There you go.
Yeah. So you see, it starts here in Baku.
And it goes
all
around
the way
Armenia. What the hell?
Up into Georgia. It goes around Armenia, comes down, and then terminates here in the Mediterranean. And actually, I think it's something like 40% of it's either 40% or 60% of the IDF's oil comes through this pipeline. So this is the thing, the Israeli war machine running.
Why do they bypass Armenia though?
Well, Azerbaijan and Armenia have had a long history of war, like in the 20th century, and they're actually technically are still at war right now. Russia has peacekeeping troops in this southwestern region. See how like Azerbaijan's broken up, like this little area down here in between Armenia, like where Armenia juts down here. This is Azerbaijan over here as well. So there's been like
hold on. So,
yeah.
They have like an island part of their country that's not connected to the rest of the country.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. There's a goes back out and come back in real quick. See if that fixes it.
Okay, cool.
You know, Russia has a part of their country that's not connected to their country.
Which part's that?
Kaliningrad. No. It's really interesting. I'll pull up a map.
I guess we technically do too with Alaska and Hawaii. But it's weird to have.
Yeah. But other countries are in between, I mean.
Yeah. Like Alaska's not as weird, but it's kind of weird. Whatever. Canada's the 51st state anyway. Okay.
Okay. I sent you the link. Maybe it's easier if you open up that map.
All right. Yeah, that's like super weird to see something like that. That just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, correct. Very weird. Azerbaijan and Israel have been having a lot of diplomacy meetings, and there's a weird thing going on with Russia and Azerbaijan and Armenia, where Russia is mediating whatever the hegemony is trying to do there. Georgia also was the site of the 2008 George Bush tried to start a war with Russia in Georgia in 2008.
John McCain was really into that war too.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that interesting? And I think that Kaliningrad actually was a very key city in the Prussian Empire when they controlled that region.
That's right.
Let me actually
I think that's right.
I can look that up. Yeah. I can't remember what the city's called, but I think that was like the seat of Prussia.
Well, Ghost. So my main question, relating to the significance between Russia doing this nuclear facility with Iran, and then the United States now, basically the day after or the same day, comes out and they're going to be doing a very similar thing with Armenia. What's the significance with this here?
Well, I can't speak to what the exact significance is, but I know that we built the facility in Iran. We built them their first nuclear reactor in 1975, and then the Soviets helped them maintain it. And now the Russians are saying that they're going to build them a second nuclear reactor. And they've also negotiated through Gazprom like a new natural gas deal. So they're going to do like a big natural gas deal with Iran, where they're actually going to be exchanging more natural gas eventually with Iran than they are through Nord Stream with Europe. So they're shifting their like energy trade is now shifting. It's going to be heavier eventually, not day one, but eventually they're going to be trading more energy with Iran than they are with Europe, which is a big deal because they are Europe's only direct supplier of natural gas right now.
That is interesting. Okay, well, I guess that's all I really had a question about.
And Chris, Königsberg is the city you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Former.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Formerly Königsberg, bombed out in World War II, renamed Kaliningrad or Kaliningrad. And yeah, Prussia, very, very significant city for Prussia. That's where the Knights Templar are from. That's where they like plotted all the occult shit related to the Crusades. So it is like definitely evil twin central there.
Yeah. So if you think about the effect that the Prussian Empire had on the current control over Europe, what ended up being the British crown for the most part, and I'm talking about the City of London bankers coming out of the Hanseatic League and all that stuff. Prussiagate, I recommend highly to everybody. Prussiagate.substack.com. You can check out a bunch of this history. But if you think about the importance of some of these key locations to the regime historically, Ukraine is huge. Kaliningrad is huge. And if you think about the regime having opposition from Russia, and then hopefully at some point having true opposition from the United States of America, then we're talking about critical locations that were taken from them and possessed by Russia. Like Russia has the seat of the Prussian Empire under their control and has since World War II, as you said, or World War I. I'm sorry, I don't remember which one you said.
World War I.
Two.
But okay, two. And now they'll have the seat of the Khazarian Empire
in Ukraine.
Once they're kicked out of Ukraine. And they already have Crimea and the entire eastern, 25% of Ukraine. That's all Russia. And Russia might leave it to be independent republics, but.
And they just took back the rest of their territory with Kursk or whatever.
I mean, I would.
Yep.
I don't.
Another connection. Another connection to World War II. And by the way, I will jump out of here because I know my connection sucks. Monday night, Oak is coming on the Book of Trump, and we're going to be talking maneuver warfare.
Nice.
And like why, when you are engaged with an enemy, why you would choose to either attack head on or to retreat, draw him in, and then outflank him. And then we'll see how that connects to like narrative psychological warfare. So
interesting. That'll be a good one.
Yeah.
Sure. Cool.
All right, man. Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. See you next week.
See you, buddy.
All right. Yeah, that's interesting. He just knows so much shit.
Yeah.
Okay. There's two more stories I want to go through.
Cool.
I think. First one is the FBI arresting judges now. And this story is nuts. Like what this judge did is nuts. But they were arresting judges now. And part of me is like, this is awesome. And when judges commit crimes, when anybody commits a crime, you should freaking arrest them. Some people are advocating we just go arrest all judges. I don't know if all judges have committed crimes, but I don't know. Maybe we should just throw out the whole thing and start all over anyway. So it doesn't matter. But this story is nuts. This judge Dugan. They were having a hearing for this guy who's like committed some crimes. In the process, ICE shows up and is like, hey, we're going to take this guy. And I'm paraphrasing here. This isn't exactly how it went down, but pretty much. She ends up dropping all the charges and like escorts the guy out through the juror's room so that he can like escape from the FBI. They end up tracking him down, but they arrested her and charged her with helping this guy escape. Just now, the FBI arrested Judge Hannah Dugan out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, on charges of obstruction after evidence of Judge Dugan obstructing an immigration arrest operation last week. We believe Judge Dugan intentionally misdirected federal agents away from the subject to be arrested in her courthouse. The guy's an illegal alien. Thankfully, our agents chased down the perp on foot, and he has been in custody since, but the judge's obstruction created increased danger to the public. We'll have more to share soon. So obstruction here, number one. Now, number two is what the governor of Wisconsin decided to follow this up with, which is advocating for further obstruction. He put out this instructions for state employees, for all Wisconsin employees, basically saying if ICE shows up at your workplace, stay calm, don't rush, notify your supervisor, call an attorney, ask the agent for all this information. Do not do anything. This is what you're supposed to not do. Don't answer questions about somebody you know or whatever about a warrant. Don't give them access to any paper files or anything. Do not give your consent to the agent to enter a non-public area. Like basically interfering in the process that ICE is trying to accomplish. They're advocating to prevent that, like the judge was trying to do. This is nuts, man.
A governor flagrantly violating the law, just like the judge was.
Yeah.
So you gotta, I mean, if you're put in a position of public trust and you're not living up to that job and you're committing crimes in the process, you've got to be arrested. And they arrested a president. I mean, you know, they arrested a president.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at that point, then all bets are off. And that's what they chose to go with. And no matter how much psyop or bullshit was involved with any of that, their supporters and the public at large, all the Trump deranged people went along with it. And we're like, yeah, throw this person in prison so he can never make us upset on TV again.
No one's above the law, Chris.
That's right.
No one.
That's a lesson I was taught by
Rachel Maddow.
Democrats, yeah.
All of her friends. Yeah, it's crazy. But okay, but does what the governor of Wisconsin did here, like, is that a crime? Like advocating for interference? Is he himself, you know, obstructing justice by doing that memo?
Oh, is the governor?
Yeah.
I mean, he's ordering people who are accountable to him to violate the law.
Yeah.
Right? To make it harder for the law to be enforced.
Like, okay, so like let's
I mean, I don't, just to be fair, I don't know the legal implications in Wisconsin law or federal law that would, but it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so hypothetical situation. Let's say Badlands Media would advocate people not pay their taxes. Is that us committing a crime?
Well,
or is it the
no.
people not paying their taxes committing the crime? Like that's what I'm, you know.
We're not in a position of public trust, and we have no power over any person.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. None of you guys should trust us. That's for sure.
Well, we don't have any authority to command them to do things. So if we say, my opinion is you should do or not do XYZ, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's a governor. And this is like a written memo. I love that this stuff's going wide in the public sphere, though, so that people understand. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's an interesting story. And it's the second judge that got arrested. Like there's one that like a week prior, maybe. And that one was weird too. Did you see the picture of him with like his pants off standing next to the illegal alien?
I didn't see the pants off thing, but
what was that guy's name?
Cano. C-A-N-O.
Let's see if I can find. I think it was this picture, but it was like the full picture of it. So let me see if I can find it. It could be AI too. I don't know.
I mean,
oh yeah, it was definitely AI because this is the real one. So never mind. They just had him like in his underwear, like whitey tighties. But this is the real picture, apparently.
Gosh, that's so weird, isn't
But
it?
either way, it's weird. Yeah.
What is he, a foreign exchange student?
With a face tattoo, yeah. That's what it looks like. It's crazy. But yeah, so this guy resigned and he got arrested too. So it's two of them. And I mean, it's definitely progress.
If we got a governor, if they went and got Evers or Evers, that would be great. Let's work all the way up so that the public is entirely comfortable with the people who have committed crimes against America and crimes against humanity getting arrested and imprisoned.
Wisconsin's such a shithole too. And it's good state, like it's a red state, but they freaking steal elections like it's nobody's business up there, just like everywhere. It's really bad. And they've been close to exposing it multiple times. And every time they get on the cusp there, something happens. And the Gableman or whatever, they went after his law license. He like pled guilty or essentially or admitted that he did the things that they said he did, and he lost his law license over it. That was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but the bar's got to go in the first place. So
yeah. I mean, you can say that about all of it.
The intent was never to have a society controlled by lawyers who all passed some sort of certification by essentially the government. Like, yes, these people are allowed to practice our law. So crazy what this country has become.
It is. Okay, speaking of crazy things that this country's become, last story, at least that I want to talk about. If you have anything else, we can get into it. But this is a weird one. Katie Hobbs
kind of connects to the last one.
Yeah, Katie Hobbs, Arizona agriculture employee, arrested for alleged human smuggling of illegal aliens. Ash texted me this last night, and we're kind of digging into it a little bit. And there's just some weird stuff about this guy in general. But long story short, this guy, Joshua Castro, works for the government. Is a produce inspector for the AZDA. He was caught smuggling aliens into the country, and he was making bank doing it too. He made like 20 grand on two people, or would have made 20 grand on two people, get him into the country. And he's in trouble, like big trouble. And, she put out like a statement like, oh, we condemn this totally. And, we obviously are going to look into this, and we took swift action. He no longer works for us. But looking at what this guy made for the government, he was making 44 grand a year working for the government. That's like absurdly low. Is it not? Like, that seems really low.
I mean, I don't know what their pay scale is, but yeah, that's like an entry level position, right?
But it's a government. I feel like government, their pay scale's off the charts, especially in blue states with blue leadership. I feel like all they do is spend money on their employees.
Is food product standardization inspector a full-time job?
I don't know, but it is possible because he did have another one here, and I don't know. He must have been getting paid these simultaneously. But either way, even that seems low. Like when I think government jobs, like especially in blue states, I think my mind goes to California, and these people are making $200,000 a year. But yeah, like how many other people in her government are doing this? How many other government officials in Arizona are doing this? And is Katie Hobbs connected to any of this directly?
Well, Katie Hobbs, I think a bunch of these governors are in the same kind of situation that we talked about earlier, where they're just under control. These people were not elected in legitimate elections. Something has to be done about that. They're obviously all caught to the same extent that everybody else is, so is something going to be done or not? And one of the things that I thought of immediately upon seeing this story was the influence of the cartels in Arizona politics. So,
yeah.
And we're seeing, I mean, who knows if that's something going on with the New Mexico judge, some of these judge arrests. I mean, these people might be doing these terrible things, not because they're just unrepentant Marxists, but because they are threatened with their lives.
What do you like? What do you mean? The judge that was like holding the immigrant was doing it?
Well, I certainly don't know. I'm just proposing the idea that with the level of control from the outside that could be involved with these immigration situations when it comes to these criminal cartels that are involved in the slave trade and trafficking operation at the southern border and probably the northern border too. It wouldn't surprise me then if the cartels had public officials in those border states under control.
I see what you're saying. That I mean, that's very plausible. Very plausible.
So, I mean, if you're threatened, if your life is threatened, you need to make this decision or whatever. And I don't know that, obviously, again, I don't know that's the case. I just contemplate scenarios like that because of the level of cartel influence and how, if this was like street gang level stuff, I doubt these would be national news stories. All of these things, I assume that they're going to lead to increase, like an escalating series of revelations along those lines.
Yeah. I wish they'd pick up on the speed of the revelations, though. But anyway, I'm just checking to see a Rumble ad situation here. Oh, we do got a couple more. Okay. Yeah, let's do a quick sponsor. And then we do have one more story, the one you reminded me of that I want to get to for sure. And then, yeah, then we'll get to the rants and stuff. So let's start it off with, I think I'm going to do 1775 coffee.
Yeah, there you go.
Good friends over at 1775. All right. Weak coffee is for the weak, and at Rumble, weak has never been part of the mission. No fillers, no fraud, and no settling for mediocrity, just like 1775 coffee. It's single origin, small farm, handpicked, specialty grade coffee that stands for quality, free speech, and calling out BS when it matters. Forget stale, mass-produced beans roasted just enough to hide the flaws. Dark roast hits like a Trump tariff. Medium roast keeps it bold without the bitterness. And Vitality Mushroom Blend is real energy and lasting focus with no synthetic garbage. For K-Cup pods, whole bean, or fresh ground coffee, go to 1775coffee.com. Use code STUDIO for 15% off and start your morning with coffee that stands for something. And for every dollar spent, it enters you to win a Cybertruck and $30,000 cash. And that opportunity alone is worth the investment, guys. And the coffee's darn good as well. But all right, okay, so the DoD story. Thought I had it pulled up, but I don't. So let me just go grab that quick. But I think we talked about it. I know I talked about it on the Daily Herald a couple times this week. It came out that there's this policy advisory board that had a bunch of deep state characters on it. Here's the board itself. This board, the Defense Policy Board, reports to the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, which, if you remember back from Trump's first term, at the end, that was Anthony Tata, who's in this role. I actually DM'd him on Twitter today. It's like, just, hey, do you have any comment on this story? And he didn't respond. And actually, I wonder, didn't he get nominated for a role in this admin?
I don't remember hearing that, but I could have just missed it. Jack Keane, I believe, is one of the TV generals, and John Huntsman Jr., I think, is the son of John Huntsman, who used to run for president from Utah. And there was something.
Yeah, Tata got nominated to serve as Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel Readiness. This is back in February, and I haven't heard a word about this since.
Michelle Flournoy was in the Obama administration as well.
She created that center. Yeah, she was the lady who created that Center for New American Security or whatever. And basically, like, if you look at that thing, that's deep state through and through. Anthony Blinken's on there. Sullivan was on there. Let me find.
So was it just this one board that was let go? Because aren't there a bunch of defense policy committees?
A bunch of them. They're all over the place. And it's my understanding.
So there was like an order to review all of those in March.
Yeah, they ended the service of all committee members on any DoD advisory committees.
Okay.
So that's got to be all of them. And I don't know how many people that encompasses, but this is one of those things, like when I said earlier, you know, how you run a business, you delegate stuff to somebody and you don't know the specifics of what's going on in their department or what they're dealing with. But it takes people advocating for change or like pointing out flaws and get it brought to the attention of everybody for something to like change to be affected. And this is one of those cases. The fact that these people were in here until April is kind of insane. But this story broke. There wasn't an actual USDP. I think isn't it Eldridge Colby that's getting this position? I think he just got nominated very recently.
I think he just got confirmed.
Yeah, confirmed. I mean,
a week or so ago.
Yeah, but so this board would be reporting to him, and so nobody brought this to the attention of anybody.
Maybe it was his confirmation and him getting in there, and this timing. So the review was happening, then he gets in, then the thing's dissolved. I don't know. So, by the way, I looked up on Perplexity the advisory committees. So you have the Defense Policy Board, which is the one we just looked at, the Defense Advisory Committee on Military Personnel Testing, the Defense Business Board, the Defense Health Board, and the Military Assistance Advisory Group. So I would bet that there is just a rogues gallery of deep state actors on all of those.
For sure. But that kind of like serves my point. Like these people were in there on these advisory boards until April. And if one of our things that we've been wanting Trump to do from day one is like drain the swamp, clean out the deep state, that's something you would probably expect. Like these advisory boards didn't need to be there till April. They could have been let go right away.
Do you just see what I sent over?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
So this is interesting because it has a list of the boards.
Oh, this is from September 21. Lloyd Austin, Zero Base Review. After careful consideration, the recommendations resulting from the Zero Base Review, Secretary Austin has approved the following advisory committees for assumption of operations. That's a ton of them. Defense Business Board, Defense Policy Board, Health Board, Board of Actuaries, Medicare Eligible Board of Advisors, Defense Science Board. This is nuts.
Yeah.
And so all of them are gone now, or at least they're on. Nobody's in those positions now.
Yeah, totally cleaned out.
Yeah.
Did you see Susan Rice's reaction to this?
I don't think I did.
I'll pull it up for you. It's pretty incredible. She's on some commie podcast.
Oh, I think that's, is it this one?
Yes. Okay. I have the better video.
Okay, you do it. You do it.
Yeah, just do this.
White male Christian cisgender macho MAGA man. You can be as dumb as a rock and be deemed qualified to serve as Secretary of Defense. That's apparently what we've learned from this episode. But let's also be clear. There's a serious point here. DEI has been used as a slur to suggest that anybody who might be a woman, might be a person of color, might be a religious minority, might have a disability, might be a religious minority, might be a veteran or of Native descent, anybody who has benefited in any way, shape, or form from the notion that we all should be treated equally and that we should be viewed on the basis of our merits and not discounted because we happen to be a woman or happen to be a person of color. Anybody who fits the mold of somebody who is not a white Christian cisgender male is by definition in this administration deemed inferior. That is the vast majority, Brian, of the people in this country.
That's
insane.
Crazy.
It's funny. He's still got his little Obama sweatshirt on. Did you see the symbol on?
Rewind it.
His look at that. There's actually a point where you can even see that it says Obama. But,
jeez,
yeah.
Who is this guy?
I think his name is Brian Tyler Cohen.
Huh.
I'm not sure about that, but that's just so embarrassing. It's so stupid. The inverted logic, the idea that it's discrimination to get rid of these people. They were the best possible people, and now they're being gotten rid of because all minorities and women are a problem. No, you were hired specifically because you're fully under control and communists and minorities and women. It's not anything to do with merit, and you're certainly not serving your country.
Did one of Trump's executive orders, I'm trying to remember, did it revoke her security clearance?
Susan Rice's?
Yeah.
I feel like that's accurate, but man, there's been so much.
Yeah, it's not showing up on the website, because that'd be even more interesting if she like had her security clearance revoked, it was somehow managed to be on this board. All right, security clearance. I mean, a lot of people in that circle certainly did.
You know, this makes me think of another article that actually has maybe a devolution connection, and I don't want to deter you if you have more to say about the defense policy thing.
No, not really. I mean, I just think it's absurd that they weren't fired initially, and it proves to me that there's still like rogue elements that we have to like.
For sure,
Trump doesn't have his hand in every single pot. There's more work to do. But yeah, go ahead and bring it up.
So I thought this was really interesting about the Act Blue thing, the New York Times article in particular. And, you know, Trump's executive order on this. Did you cover that on Daily Herald?
Yeah, I talked about it a little bit.
Okay. So, you know, the entire big picture thing here, and I can take this down for a second while we talk about this, but the entire big picture thing here is that money is coming in from global philanthropists or potentially organizations like funneling through FTX or something. And then the donations are going to political interests all around the country to ostensibly to steal elections.
Smurfing.
And and they're passing them through the identities of an entire range of Americans who have no idea that donations are being made in their name to regime-oriented political interests. So one of the things in particular that the executive order addresses, and this article talks about, is the foreign element that some of this money's coming in from abroad. And that immediately makes me think of foreign interference in American elections, which goes right to 13848. Yeah. And then I was just really kind of astounded in this article about the level of panic that is present here. Let me see if I can. Here it is. I can pull this back up. There's great fear across the Democrat Party that any of the entities that have used Act Blue could soon find themselves enmeshed in an investigation into foreign contributions from a hostile Justice Department with direction from Mr. Trump. As word of the impending Trump memorandum circulated among Democrats, panicked Democrats blasted fundraising appeals. I think there was one. So this is Ruben Gallego. And I think that there was one even from Kamala Harris, like asking for money.
Asking for money to Act Blue.
Yeah. Like, let's get all the Act Blue money through as fast as we can. Please send some my way.
See, yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, it's not just Act Blue. It's WinRed. There are multiple organizations using this thing. But when it comes to 13848, I mean, this level of sophisticated, this is a sophisticated operation they have going here, but this is directly tied to foreign interference because the money does go overseas. I think we saw direct proof of that with FTX. And that is like clearly spelled out in EO 13848, where like if it's the funding of it and if it has to do with the infrastructure, whether it's campaign or political organizations,
even if it's just global, like donor money from globalists who aren't American.
Yep. The targeting of any foreign interference involved activities targeting the infrastructure of or pertaining to a political organization, campaign, or candidate. So that's like all of WinRed and Act Blue. And then it talks about, let me get to the foreign aspects, the definitions here. Foreign interference with respect to an election includes any covert, fraudulent, deceptive, or unlawful actions, attempted actions of a foreign government or any person acting as an agent of or on behalf of a foreign government undertaken with the purpose of influencing, undermining confidence in, or altering the result of the election, or undermining public confidence in. I mean, the foreign element aspect of this is probably the one piece that would be debatable, because if it's originating here, it's our money here, and they're using a pass-through of a foreign element. But I guess there's probably money directly from foreign entities that are coming in too. We just haven't seen that story yet, you know?
Well, yeah. And I think that's one of the major points of, the need for the pass-throughs and whatnot, is that it's coming in from abroad.
For sure. And Trump's all over it. I mean, the executive order that he or the memo that he just put out directly calls it out. He wouldn't put that out unless he already knew it existed, Of
course. Yeah. And the other crazy thing about all this is, and this is like big picture, you could wrap all the stories up into this, it's all being framed as political persecution of Donald Trump's opponents. And these are all crimes on the books, and all his orders are doing is saying to the Justice Department, please enforce the law.
Yeah, and this is one of the things we've talked about this a lot, like the game theory, and truth is the one thing. When you're operating from a state of truth, like long term, you're going to outlast the people that are operating from a place of lies. Like they're lying about and trying to pin all these crimes on Trump, but they don't have any meat on that bone because none of it was true. None of it actually happened. But when we do it in reverse order, and like they can call it political persecution all they want, but when you do it with the truth, that's not what it is. It's the political persecution is when you're doing it with lies. What they're doing it with truth, like these people are they're going to jail. They actually committed crimes. Doesn't matter how they spin it. Doesn't matter how many times Rachel Maddow cries about it. It's truth. And
the country's beginning to understand it, which is what allows the process to actually work. And I think this is super important because the frustration with the lack of arrests and stuff goes right into this.
Yeah.
If they were to do it without the country, like obviously on board, then the presentation, we can still see that to some degree, there's media power coming from the other direction.
For
right?
sure.
And whatever the levels of control are within the major media organizations, people on the ground, people online, people in your life still hate Trump. That's just a reality that people still hate Trump. So it's a matter of, it's like a continuum between people who are on board with the program and people who are totally Trump deranged. And if they have like 30% or 40% or 50% or more, then you can't do stuff like this without them being able to reliably and successfully sell the idea that Trump really is the authoritarian dictator they've been describing for the last 10 years. It's the creation of this consensus over the years that will allow him to be able to do these things.
Yeah. So I guess to me, it comes down to like, well, first of all, how much percentage do you think they really have? I don't think it's over 30%.
No, me neither.
But then it also comes down to, okay, so at what point do we need to get to where we stop having to like build that consensus and just rip the Band-Aid off? And then the rest of the people, they'll just have to be convinced by the evidence. And some of those people may never be convinced. But at some point, that Band-Aid does have to come off. And then you convince people with the proof that you have built, not just like the consensus of all these narratives and stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I mean, I thought that January of 2021.
Yeah.
And just the last thing I have to say on the matter is when people are trying to make sure no one is pressing for more because they're worried that somehow we're going to like upset everybody and they're going to all black pill and quit. Like, oh, like when they're doing that, it makes it harder to garner that consensus. It's through us talking about how much more needs to be done that people realize how much more needs to be done. And then more people press for it, which is what consensus building is.
That's a good point. But careful, that did sound an awful lot like dooming or black pilling.
Totally.
It didn't sound like cheerleading, Chris.
No, I know.
We should, next guard, Deadwood, we should like get, Badlands branded pom-poms. Give them out to everybody.
That's a good idea.
It is. Maybe not everybody, but just a few select people that will probably be in the area and not have tickets to the conference. Give it up to them when they show up. Anyway, that's besides the point. But yeah, man, the consensus stuff, the narrative warfare aspect of this is always so interesting to me. Always go back to the Higgins memo. And like, what's going on, you see it going on. And at some point they have to flip the switch from building consensus to just actually doing the thing you've built the consensus around. And their timeline on things is obviously not how I would have timed things, or any of us probably, and how patient are we going to be? And then eventually, like, it does reach a point, I think, too, and this is a point that everybody should be concerned about, is if they delay this too long, they could start losing people the other direction. I think there is a real risk that people get upset for lack of action and they start going the other way. And I feel like some of that does happen in some regard already. Like some people, we lose some people. For every people we wake up, we probably lose some too.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
something to think about.
It's true.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. I think we got one more Rumble sponsor, but we need to find 2 minutes worth of talking before we can read it.
Well, we've got rants.
Oh, we do have rants. That's true. Oh, I should probably take. Oh, you know what? Let me do this first. We have a conference this coming week. We're going to be in Plymouth. For those of you who are new to this channel, by the way, hit the thumbs up. Make sure you give us a follow here. But we are big believers in activating people locally. We go around the country 4 times a year and do these conferences. We also have a bunch of Badlanders meetups all over the country, every state, where people just get together in their own community once a month, maybe once every other month, and they just hang out with like-minded people and talk about how they can work on restoring the country, restoring it to its greatness. And this is one of our conferences this Thursday in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Single-day tickets are still available, but if you can't make it, the next best thing is getting a virtual ticket. Not only is it a great way to support Badlands Media and our hosts, but you get access to a Telegram chat, an exclusive chat where in-person and virtual ticket holders all are hanging out, talking. Us hosts are in there. You can engage with the hosts on stage. You can ask questions. You get behind-the-scenes videos and pictures. That's awesome. You'll also get access to buy Deadwood tickets with this purchase. What else am I missing, Chris?
I don't know, man. That seemed like it was pretty comprehensive.
Well, it's pretty comprehensive, wasn't it? Behind the scenes photos, S panels. Yeah, I think I got it all. But yeah, badlandsmedia.tv/events. Get your tickets. It's going to be a great time. Our normally scheduled content will not be on Badlands for Friday, Saturday, some of Sunday, except for the live DPH next week.
And we're probably going to do live Badlands Daily, Brian and I, on Friday.
Oh, nice.
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, we'll announce some of that stuff. But
yeah,
for the most part, a majority of our content will not be on here because we'll be there. So make sure you guys get your ticket and get your Badlands fix. And then I'm also going to check for boosts quick too. See what we got over here. And then we'll do the ad and do the rants and get out of here. Okay, April 26th, Micro Toolmaker. The $117 says Badlands is the emerging media of the future. Where we go one, we go all. Thank you for that, sir. It's a big one, always coming in clutch. We have Mark Q Patriot, the two-parter. Part one, you talked about IDs Wednesday. I'm sending this to Saturday PH because the last time I sent one in before Vegas, it was never read. They call it altered state for that. I'm not salty, and my jimmies are not rustled. How do you identify an illegal without them knowing you know? Or if a citizen had a real ID that had to show a birth certificate, only they can get a real ID. So illegals shouldn't be able to fly because they can't get a real ID. Also, we know where all the illegals live when we round them up. Yeah, I think it's a good point. There wasn't really a question there. I guess kind of was, but yeah, I mean, I don't really have an issue with the real ID stuff. It is what it is, and it's already. Again, there's already government issued IDs that had to use to get it. So Lionheart 7777 says, good evening, guys. Have fun and safe guard. God bless. I think that's it. Okay. Sponsor time, and then we'll 7 seconds. Hold for processing. Just gonna wait this out. Now we're ready. Now we're ready. And then we'll do the rants. Hit the thumbs up, everybody. We all want to raise kids who are strong, confident, and unafraid to speak their minds. But let's face it, free speech is under attack, especially for our children. Political correctness, cancel culture, and even school environments are teaching kids to stay quiet instead of standing up for what they believe. That's exactly why I want to share something important with you. It's called The Kid's Guide to Free Speech and Cancel Culture. And it's a powerful resource for families who believe in truth, freedom, and the Constitution. This guide teaches kids what the First Amendment really means, why free speech matters, where it's being threatened, and how they can confidently stand up for their rights without being silenced. It's age-appropriate, engaging, and backed by the same values we fight for here on Rumble, because let's be real, we all know what the mainstream platforms have done. They've silenced voices, banned opinions, and pushed one-sided narratives. That's why Rumble exists, to protect free speech for all Americans. And this guide, it brings that same fight into your home in a way your kids can actually understand. So if you want to raise young Americans who know their rights and won't back down, get this guide. Go to freespeech4kids.com and claim the Kids Guide to Free Speech and Cancel Culture for free. You just pay for shipping. Let's make sure the next generation grows up in an America where speaking the truth is still something to be proud of. What a great idea. I love content like that for kids where they can learn about our Constitution and whatnot in a fun and engaging way.
Yeah, that imagine that school was like that.
Come on now, that'd be weird.
Crazy, right?
That'd be weird. Do you see the whole AI thing too this week? Like,
No.
let's have our kids use AI more in school and our teachers use AI more in school.
Well, it would be a good way of getting rid of the teachers' unions.
Yeah, dude, the teachers union in North Dakota just got rid of our school choice bill that they tried to put forth. Freaking Kelly Armstrong is a rhino douchebag. I'm trying to interview him. If anybody wants to help me get him on the show.
Yeah, that he'll
be real friendly.
Be jumping at the chance now. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right, rants. We got S Hole making Badlands great again. Thanks, John and Chris. Thank you. The Abe Theory 21. This guy who made that hat of yours. Quick question. Not sure if this has been discussed already. Would Virginia Giuffre still be alive if they just released the Epstein files? Has anyone asked this question already? I kind of tried to ask that last night, and I was told that was dumb. She's in Witsec. She's not dead.
I have no idea.
Salty about it. But yeah,
I think that there are going to be multiple rugs down that road.
Yep. Rugs for everybody. Wedge Gravy. If Ukraine was offered the dollar and ruble and chose the ruble, would that be a serious blow to the dollar? Like the sword slice to the jugular?
I think you read K.O. Kelly's post as the Abe Theory's post.
No.
Did you read On Conspiracy Theorists? I always say.
No, I haven't gone there yet. I'm here.
Oh, all right.
I'm going up.
Okay, sorry.
But if Ukraine was offered the dollar and the ruble and chose the ruble, would that be a serious blow to the dollar? What? I don't think that would happen. Like they're not going to go to Russia and ask them for, or like they want us to pay in ruble.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just don't understand.
Like if they would use it as their currency, I think is what he's suggesting, or she.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't know what level their economy would have to be that hurtful. I don't know.
Yeah. K.O. Kelly, Virginia signed an NDA as part of her settlement with Andrew. She's dead. Does the agreement get nullified? Well, if she's dead, like who's going to be the one disclosing what was in the agreement? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, by the way, I don't have an outro. So if you want to think of anything to play for the outro tonight, you can do that while I read through these. The Ape Theory 21 on conspiracy theorists. I always say there wouldn't be theorists if there wasn't any conspirators. I like that. Wedge Gravy. God, wouldn't it be great if she gives a speech and Trump has her arrested on the spot and the rest of his speech is people presenting the evidence of 2020 being stolen? This reality has to be close. We've been saying that for about 5 years, but it's getting closer, certainly. Lions 54, sorry, El Yance 54. Can we convene another Continental Congress? Wasn't there a convention of states push like 3-4 years ago that never came through?
Yeah. I wouldn't trust that. Who would we send to that? Who would we send to that delegation?
I don't know. Nobody I would trust. You're right. 1027 JS says, thank you. Thank you, Joe. Ken Cooksey, Dark Knight and Lucius Fox. Am I right? Bat sonar pinging off any electronic makes you think about the ether. Yeah. Didn't tune into your show tonight, but I've heard it was good, Cam. So keep it up. See you next week. Abe Froman, John, can you post the heat map of the survey that you took regarding GART locations? I could. Don't know if I will. I'll think about it. I don't want people to know where our people are at. It's classified information. But yeah, I'll think about it. Thanks, Abe. Another 179. Thanks, John and Chris. Thank you. Patrick GBBP417. I'm surfing the FEC search feature, looking at the Smurfy and WinRed did in my name. Shamefully reminded I did donate to a bit to Cornyn's campaign. Thanking 4547 for the EO. Please ring up these pricks. We do not endorse murdering politicians officially. Patrick GBBP 417. Check your names on the search to bring it up in your normie folks. Smurf search. Check that out.
Oh, wow.
Mighty Brush 68. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you on Saturday in Plymouth. If Ghost passes out, I'll volunteer to protect him from the serial killer.
Well, hopefully there's no serial killer, but thank you.
Yeah, there's rumors though. 8 dead bodies in the rough area over the past like 2 months or something.
Is that for real?
Supposedly. One of them was in Plymouth.
It's a good thing we're saying this after the ad.
Yeah, but 7 of them have been 7 of the 8 have been female, and we only have like, I think we're gonna have 1 female panelist, so we should be fine. Badlands will be fine. Odds are. Anyway, Mighty Brush 68. I'm looking forward to meeting you all. I just read that one. We're looking forward to meeting you too, though. The final demand. Why does it feel like since Trump was sworn in, the Trump admin and the deep state seem to take every weekend off? Sans the MSM interviews, nothing newsworthy happens on a weekend.
I was just thinking about that today. I think I think the final demand is exactly right about that. It's incredible how little happens on the weekends.
This last week was super slow too. Like Thursday, Friday was boring as hell.
Yeah. And a lot of the stories that come out that get all the attention seem psyop oriented,
Or
like
reruns.
old style news or reruns. Yeah.
Like every day is the same thing. It's the China tariff back and forth, stocks up and down back and forth, the Ukraine back and forth. Everything's a back and forth.
Yep. It's almost like it's time to start tuning out from the psyops and the soap opera on television.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but it kind of sucks when you just like started a show where you go through those psyops every day and read them to people, and it's like making me have to talk more and defeated the whole purpose. It sucks. Anyway, show's been great, guys. Tune in weekdays 1 p.m. Eastern. Keith O'Higgins, for shits and giggles, you guys should check out Sage Steele's ex Twitter post a day ago. It proves Alpha is not only a Fed, but is about to become a bigamist. I feel like I shouldn't do that. Thank you for the $1, Keith. WTBY free. Oh, thank you, free Phoenix, now becoming a monthly supporter. Always appreciate that. And to anybody who gifted subs, thank you. Those don't show up on this thing. WTBY free. Rice was part of the DoD advisory board that Hexeth terminated. Yeah, we just covered that. Doctor name only. People who aren't asleep are either spectators, cheerleaders, or players. We must decide which one we are. I like that. Appreciate the rant. And then $100 from Dragonfly Sister. Looking forward to Gart Virtual. Thanks, guys. Love you all for what you do. Thank you for that rant. Did you get us an outro?
I failed. I thought about it, and you know, I would always go to the Kim Jong-un. Man, maybe there's maybe you know what we should do? We should get Team America World Police.
There we go. Are you doing that right now?
Yep.
Okay.
Which
we
one?
did we played that clip on our election show. Like, I should go back and count. It had to have been 100 times. The America Fuck Yeah one.
Oh, the whole song or what?
Fuck yeah! Like every time something came in, where'd my camera go?
Yeah, there you go. Why isn't it? Yeah, I mean, here's the Oh, you know what? Let's do Freedom Costs $1.05.
Okay. Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Hit that thumbs up. Give us a follow if you're new to the channel. And yeah, we've got 20,000 watch right now.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
And yeah, go to the Substack address you see under right there.
Yeah, Chris does a show 3 times a week.
Yeah, 3 times a week right now. Not this next week, but yeah.
All right. Okay. Here's the outro. This is gonna be good. Okay. See you, everybody.
What would you do if you were asked to give up your dreams for freedom? What would you do if asked to make the ultimate sacrifice? Would you think about all them people who gave up everything they had? Would you think about all them war vets, and would you start to feel bad? Freedom isn't free. It costs folks like you and me. And if we don't all chip in, we'll never pay that bill. Freedom isn't free. No, there's a hefty fucking fee. And if you don't throw in your $1.05, who will? Ooh, $1.05. Freedom costs $1.05.